Hey guys, welcome to my studio. My name is Sergey Gusev. Today, in this video tutorial, I would like to talk about the skin tones and actually talk about my palette and about the paints I use to mix up skin tones. In my previous video, I was talking about the three mistakes beginners usually make when they paint portraits, when they look for the skin tones. And in this video, I would like to talk a little bit more about the colors, about the paints I use and why I like to use them. So let's begin. And right now you can see my palette, which I used for this painting, for this portrait. And you can see I used very few colors, 6, 7 colors, which I usually use for the skin tones when I make portraits. And you see I used amber raw, ultramarine, cadmium red, sienna burnt, ochre yellow, titanium white, and cadmium yellow. Usually I like to use cadmium lemon because it makes really nice cold tints, but for this tutorial, for this portrait, I used just cadmium yellow, which is warm actually, but I wanted to try something new. And I liked it, it worked really fine, and it didn't make the portrait yellowish or so. And you can see I used very few colors. Um, and in my opinion, it's really enough, especially if you're a beginner and you probably don't know a lot about paints, you don't know a lot about mixing paints and which ones to buy in art stores. And when you come to an art store, you can see really lots of paints. And you can get confused because you don't know which ones to buy, how to mix skin tones, why to use this one or that one, and so on and so on. And that's why let's figure it out. I like to use earth colors mostly for the skin tones, but actually I also understand that we have to use cold tints, so we need to have a few cold colors, and that is why I have ultramarine, I have cadmium lemon, and I have cadmium red. They're actually cold, and we can mix them with titanium white and get really nice skin color in lights, which is actually usually very cold. And I want to repeat one basic thing I always talk about, the light source, because in my opinion it matters and it's really important to understand where the light comes from and which kind of light we have. So it could be cold or warm light, and that is why uh, a portrait can look a little warmer or colder, and that's why it's really important, because if you understand it, if you understand before you begin to paint, you can decide what kind of colors you're going to use for the lights, for the semitones, and for the shadows. So before you begin to paint, just try to find out. It's not difficult at all which kind of light you have. Usually it's natural cold light from the sun. It's not direct light, so it's cold, and that is why the lights of the portrait are gonna be colder, then the semitones are gonna be warmer, and the shadows are gonna be even much warmer than the semitones. And if you understand it, it's really easy to mix skin tones. It's really easy to find the right colors, especially when you have a few colors on the palette, maybe 5, 6, 7, not more than 10. It's going to be really easy to mix the skin tones you need. And so you can see on this portrait I'm working on right now that the lights are definitely cold, and the forehead is lighter and colder than the cheeks, for example. The cheeks are warmer and darker, and then the chin is even darker and even warmer. And if you look at the shadows, they are warmer than the semitones, they are warmer than the lights. So what did I do? I mixed ultramarine with titanium white, and I added a little bit sienna burnt, a little bit cadmium yellow, and I mixed this kind of semitone, which is really nice for the semitone for the cheeks, for example. And then we can compare this semitone with the other parts of the face, and we can see that the cheeks, for example, they are warm and darker than the forehead. And so I added more white, I added more ultramarine, and I added a little cadmium yellow for the forehead. So I got a color which is really close to the semitone, but it's lighter and colder, because the forehead is lighter and colder. Because the light comes from above, it makes the forehead look lighter and colder. It's very simple. Then when the light goes down, it becomes less bright, and the chin, for example, it's darker than the forehead. If you look at the chin first of all, and then you look at the forehead, you will notice that the forehead is light and cold, and the chin is dark and warm. And to make the semitone warmer, you can add more cadmium yellow and sienna burn, for example. So you will get a really nice, warm, but also light skin tone. And then when you need to paint the shadow, you can mix, for example, sienna burnt with a little ultramarine, maybe a tiny bit titanium white, maybe a tiny bit cadmium yellow, and you will get a really nice shadow, which is not really dark in this portrait. It's not black. It's not even a little bit close to black. It's really light, and that is why you don't have to use a lot of dark colors. You can use only sienna burnt and maybe ultramarine with cadmium yellow and titanium white. So you can see it's really simple because it depends on the light. The upper part of the head is lighter and colder, and then when it goes down, it becomes darker and warmer. And I think if you understand this basic thing, you will succeed a lot and you will improve your skills. So it's actually not so difficult. Just, in my opinion, it's gonna be more difficult if you want to mix a lot of paints. And if you have only 2, 3, 4 paints, it's really difficult to make muddy tones, because this mud comes from ambers, from some browns paints, from blacks, and so on. So if you don't mix really strange, weird colors, which I think you don't have to, I'm sure you're gonna make a really nice portrait, and the skin tones are gonna look realistic and fresh, and not something, lifeless. So I think that's pretty much it for today, and I would like to hear your opinion, and if you have if you have any offers and any questions, I would like to read them in the comments, so leave them in the comments down here. Sound up, share this with your friends, and see you soon.